Have a listen to this. Have a listen to this. Now, that kind of talk this week dragged Australia's share market to a two-year low. There are, of course, complex reasons for that.
He was the big spender. The big spender.
Doing the grocery shopping could take a huge chunk out of the family budget.
And that's finance.
Hello and welcome to Comedian V Economist. We demystify the world of money and help you get a handle on the bigger picture. My name's Adam and we're joined as always by my little older brother and real-life economist, Thomas. Hi, Thomas.
Yeah, g'day Adam, how are you?
Yeah, doing pretty good, thank you. Hey, something a bit different on the show this week. If you're a regular listener to the show, you'll know that we often cover off the big stories from the world of finance and beyond each week. But this week, it's school holidays. So, yeah, haven't had a chance to unpack all the big stories. But I thought maybe this week instead, what we would do is just pull it back a bit, pull it up a level. And I wanted to ask you, Thomas, with all the research and the ghostwriting that you do for your clients, if there's one thing that all your clients would recommend for success, what would it be?
Yeah, good question. I think the answer is affirmations.
Right.
For real.
For real?
So, yeah. For real.
What's an affirmation? Is that like a New Year's resolution?
No. That's a different kettle of fish. Now, an affirmation is a statement of belief in something, particularly about yourself. So I don't know if people realise why I'm very qualified to talk about this topic, but
I'm kind of curious to know why you're qualified to talk about this topic. To be honest, like I thought you're an economist, right? It's in the title. It's in the title of the show. That's I think how most people would think of you and know you. So for you to launch into affirmations seems a little bit kind of magic fair kind of territory rather than.
Yeah. So I do a lot of writing for my clients, a lot of that sort of market analysis, but I also get into a bit of success psychology for them. So I sort of lace a bit of sort of like, it can't all just be dry economics. So it needs to lace it in with a bit of success psychology, sort of personal growth and development kind of riffing. That's sort of what I do. So in that, I tend to read a lot of all the Tony Robbins and Brendan Burchard and those kind of characters.
Oh, God. Where have we landed here? Tony Robbins, is that where we're starting?
Yeah.
Okay, well, lift me up, Tony. Let's go. Do I need to start clapping or something? Do we all clap together?
Yeah, do some burpees. Get the energy flowing.
Okay, affirmations.
So it's a simple statement that starts to shift your belief patterns and the things that you're telling yourself. The sort of scripts that you're running. The scripts is sort of the language.
Right.
So, for example, you might believe that you're ugly. For example, that might be a self-belief that you have. I could see you shaking your head, but just go with me.
I assume you're looking at someone else.
Just looking at my own mirror in the Zoom window. But yeah, stretch yourself and imagine that you have that script, that you believe that's true.
Okay.
You can shift that by running an affirmation that runs counter to that. So I am very beautiful, or I am a handsome man, for example.
Right.
And you just repeat that to yourself. Maybe like, and you need to repeat it. So it's maybe like 12 times a day for 3 months, something like that.
And that's it? That you just say the words to yourself and that's it?
Yeah.
Do you have to do it in a mirror? Do you need candles?
Draw a pentagram on the ground.
Is there some sort of ceremony that goes with this affirmation?
No. It's really simple. And this is sort of why, like, if I had to nominate one that I've seen, one that it comes up again and again, and one that it's the return on investment is probably the biggest bang for buck you get out of all the techniques that I've come across. So it really is just as simple as repeating those words to yourself. You don't even have to believe it at the time. That's also not really that important. The more you feel into it, and the more you create a felt affirmation, like tapping into that felt experience of the body, seems to sort of increase its power. But yeah, you're just running the lines, really.
Changing your beliefs. Like you can't sort of. It's not like a grant me 3 wishes type scenario where, like I can't just wake up and do my morning affirmations of. My investments will perform will outperform the market today. And say that 12 times a day, and my investments, like, I can't control my investments through my affirmations. So
yeah, well,
I can believe they will.
Yeah, well, there's a question there. So like, definitely, like, you can't. There's two schools of thought with affirmations. Like, one is that you can't change your physical reality. Like, if you get up and say, I am a border collie 12 times a day, that's not going to change your reality. You're not. Well, it's going to have an impact on your reality, but you're not going to become a border collie,
right?
But you can change your beliefs that you have about yourself purely like it's just the internal scripts that you're running. So that then changes your experience of life and the things that happen to you because you're now a different being relating to the world in a different way.
Right.
That's sort of one school of thought. Like it's just like a confidence exercise. If you just become more confident, you start engaging with the world in a different way, and you start getting different results just because you're more confident.
Okay.
That's sort of one school of thought, and that's where I feel very comfortable with. There's a second school of thought which then takes this idea further, which is then like, if you're carrying this belief that then the universe itself starts interacting with you in a different way. So you could run a line like, my investments will outperform the market today or this year or something, and then the universe will change in order to meet your expectations. This is the second school of thought and is probably more on the woo-woo spectrum.
Right. I'm amazed there is more than one school, to be honest. None of this sounds like it comes out of a school.
Yeah, well, if you'd got to Year 12, you'd see that's what most of Year 12 was about. Yeah.
Didn't need it, Thomas. I didn't need it. I'd learned everything I needed by the end of Year 11. I said, no, I'm good now. I'm ready to take on the world. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, that's a bit like you hear these people say, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And I just think it's probably, that's by definition true, but it's not what you mean usually. There usually is a reason. It's just nothing to do with you.
Yeah, if your reason is quantum physics.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's what they mean by that line. Yeah. I think that there's a particularly narcissistic, self-centered school of American New Age thinking. Right. Where that idea has taken root, that the entire universe is geared to provide you with lessons and opportunities. I think that's a dangerous line of thought to get into, or to place too much belief in.
What kind of shirks your responsibility or your accountability to some extent? You start then taking that a bit further and going, well, you know what, I'm just going to do whatever, and if it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. And that's probably not the best way of controlling your outcomes or control, if you want certain things in your life and you want success and you want whatever it is, then just sort of throwing it out to the universe and assuming the universe will guide and shape your destiny in some way, in a positive way. There's every chance the universe is going to go, I wasn't really thinking about you a whole lot, to be honest. I'm just going to let you just fall to the wayside.
Yeah. Or the universe goes, I actually just hate you.
It's a cool, vindictive universe.
Yeah.
All right, let's just pause there for a second. We'll grab a quick break and a word from our sponsors and be back with more Comedian versus Economist right after this. Welcome back here on Comedian versus Economist. Don't forget you can always send us an email, cve@equitymates.com, or on the website, equitymates.com/CVE, or why not come and join us on Facebook and Instagram at CVE Podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Thomas, we're talking about affirmations. I'm still skeptical, I got to be honest. Tell me more.
Yeah, so let's just sort of leave the woo-woo side aside for the moment. We come back, like I think why this sort of character something that comes back to, because I think it can powerfully shift the scripts that you're telling yourself, which is just the stories that you're telling yourself. So, for example, if you're running a story that is like, I'm not good with people and people find me awkward and I put people off when I meet them, if that's an idea that you're carrying, then that's going to affect the way you interact with people, because you're on the defensive and you're going to be interacting. You're going to be awkward in your interactions because you've primed yourself for that. But if you're confident and comfortable, say like, and you're running a story in your mind, like, I'm good with people. I'm comfortable. I'm warm. People like me. People respond well to me. They want to help me with my endeavors. Then when you meet people, then that's the vibe you're bringing, and that's the reality you're going to create. Not in a magical way, but just like that's what you're bringing to that interaction, and that's the flavor that's going to emerge from it. And that's sort of the idea, and that's where I think it can have an impact. That if you're running a story in your mind, if you have an idea about yourself that is limiting, then you can shift that idea.
So that has a lot of application then, obviously. Like that's, whether it's social situations, whether it's in your business life, in your professional life. And I see a lot of people, like, probably myself included, you often look at a CEO, right? Like say, pick anyone. And you think, I often wonder where they come from. Because I go, I don't think I could ever be a CEO of a company, like of a successful company. Like, I don't know how you make that leap from kind of just working for the company to then being appointed as a CEO, I guess, or being, making that journey from worker bee through to CEO of the company. Like, and I always just feel like there's this CEO school somewhere that just pumps out CEOs, and I didn't go there, and so I'm never gonna be a CEO, and I'm okay with that because I'm not sure that I want to be one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and I think this is what Tony Robbins would say to you, Adam, is that's just a story that you're running, that you're not CEO material, that you don't have the right training, that you haven't been primed for it. That's just the story. And the only difference between you and Matt Common at Combank is that you're just running a different story. He genuinely believes that he's ready to be CEO and can be a CEO and can be a very successful CEO, and that's how he's rolling.
He also genuinely believes that he was university educated.
With 30 years experience in the finance sector.
Yeah, he's got that going for him as well. I don't think we should underplay why I'm not qualified to be CEO of Combank.
You should just run an affirmation. I have 30 years experience in the financial sector.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah. So like the affirmation, and maybe this is my problem, the affirmations are only going to take you so far. You can't. Yeah.
Like it's not a magical pill. It's not a magical bean that's going to transform you. But there are definitely people, like definitely cases I've experienced in my own life where I recognize that I'm just running a script. I recognize in my 20s that when I'd enter a party, I'd have this strong moment of anxiety as soon as I entered. And it's a common thing. You're entering into a room, you don't know everyone, it's a party, it's a social situation, all that sort of social dynamics is in play. Yeah. It's a bit like, oh my God. And like, I came into it defensively. Like I was like, people are going to judge me, people are looking at me, I'm going to be weird, I'm not dressed right, rah, rah, rah. And I entered as an unconfident being and had had an anxious time. So I started running an affirmation saying like, I'm a fun guy, everyone loves me, everyone loves having me at a party.
Is this while you were studying economics?
Yeah.
Because that's pretty powerful.
Right?
If an economist walks into a party, assuming everyone thinks he's a fun guy. I solved it with the pre-party. Which is where me and just a select few mates would get together, knock back a few froths, have just a little party before we made our way to the party, and then same effect, absolute
same effect. Yeah,
I'd walk in thinking, feeling good, just got a nice glow on. Walking in, just firing little handguns at people, like poo poo, what's up.
Stumbling into the kitchen. Sorry, is this the wrong house? Apologies, Mrs. Barker. It's just... Yeah. But no, yeah, so it's the same effect. But just that, like it was a story either way. I think this is where affirmations work. It's when it's a story either way. So I can run a story that I'm awkward and I'm unconfident and people are going to judge me. There's no truth in it. It's just a story. So I can run that story, or I can run an alternative story, which is I'm confident and fun and everyone likes hanging out with me. There's no more basis of truth in that, but it's just a story.
Right.
But that second story creates a better outcome for me. I actually have more fun and I enjoy what I'm doing a lot more. I have a lot more fun. People react to me as a confident guy, which is has a lot of benefits. So I think this is where affirmations can really work, is that when it's just a story, you can choose which story you want to run. And since you can choose what story you want to run, why not choose the one that is more fun or creates a better outcome? And I think that's where affirmations can have a powerful impact.
It's the old fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
in a way, like you go, like you might think to yourself, I'm not a confident, fun guy, but if I tell myself I am enough, and then if I go to the party and I like almost like pretend that I am, do you know what I mean? Like, so you tell yourself first, then you get there and you're like, hey, I love being at parties. I'd much rather be here than sitting at home watching Netflix. Like this is me. Then eventually you probably will. Whereas if you don't, if you never take that step, then, you know.
Yeah, I think there is a bit of fake it till you make it. It is kind of related to this, but I also think it's kind of different, because I think what you're doing is hacking into your ego. You're hacking into the mental conception that you have of yourself. And this is, so remember, like the ego is the mental picture that we have of ourselves that we then manipulate in our imaginations to help us navigate through a complex world. So you can imagine, if you have a picture of yourself, and you can imagine going up to someone and saying something, and you can imagine how they're going to react and the kind of outcomes you're going to get. The mental picture that you have, that's what some people call the ego. And that's sort of a composite of all these sort of different ideas that you have of yourself. And it's like, it works in a sort of a material way. Like if you're walking towards a doorway, you can know well ahead of before you pass through the doorway, whether that doorway is tall enough to let you through without stooping.
Depends if you've been to the pre-party. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So you got this idea of you have a mental picture of yourself and how tall you are, and you use that to navigate through the doorway. And it's the same story, but because we live in a complex world and we're complex social animals, that picture we have of ourselves includes a lot more than our physical reality. It includes all of our qualities about, how talented, how fast a runner I am, or like physical aptitude, but then also you have ideas about how talented I am, how good looking I am, how popular I am, how good with money I am. They're all just ideas that we pick up along the way that we then use to help us navigate a complex world. But a lot of them are just stories, and left unchecked, they can become limiting stories.
Yeah, and I think especially if you're talking about, and the Equity Mates guys do really well at this, and same with You're in Good Company, sort of breaking down the barriers to entry into, say, investing, because a lot of people, I reckon you would ask, they would have those limiting sentiments in their ego already that say, there's no way I could understand how to invest money in the share market. There's no way that, that's just not for me. Yeah. It's not something I could get my head around. And that's where I think some of the You're in Good Company and Get Started Investing podcasts are really good, because they're kind of doing that for you in a way. They're taking what could be an affirmation, which is, I can understand this, I can be good at this, and I can do it, and they're kind of providing that for you. So there's value in it, for sure. And then if you can take that, the knowledge or the information that you're being given, and then you can use that as a basis for fueling your own view of yourself and going, well, yeah, I can do that. I can understand that if I buy an ASX 200 ETF, that's not really very hard, and that is investing in the share market. Whether that works out for you or not is another story, but it's an easy way you can get in. So I think I get it, but
it's easy. I mean, we talk for a lot of my clients. So this is why, with all development processes or investing kind of journeys, they use a lot of examples and case studies of other students. A lot of look at these students. They started just like you without knowing a lot, and they went on this journey and now here they are. And so you see that and you go like, they did it, therefore I can do it. And it's kind of like a mini affirmation in that sense. But
yeah,
like,
I
I think
the Barefoot Investors book is full of them. Like, I read that not long ago, and that's just got full of stories of single mum with 3 kids and struggling, and then her journey through setting up the buckets and whatever and saving.
Yeah, it works. But I think when you can choose that, you can focus in on yourself, and then I think with affirmations you can shift that mental picture of yourself very quickly. It's not going to magically transform you, but like if you're just running a negative script, if you're running a limiting story, you can just stop that. You can turn that off, and for as little as 2 minutes a day for 3 months, and you don't have to deal with that again. So I'm a busy man.
A day? For how long? Right.
Maybe not even that much.
That's affirmations. You just tell yourself something every day. This is similar to like convincing yourself to like certain foods. Like, apparently if you have something 12 times, then you like it. I did it when I was giving up. I was trying to get rid of sugar out of my diet as much as I could, and I stopped adding sugar into my coffee, and I'd always loved coffee, and I loved my morning coffee, and then I was, drinking way too much coffee. And I tried to take sugar out of my diet, and I'm like, oh, God, I don't like coffee at all. I just really like sugar. But I tried it because the people were saying, no, if you drink coffee for 12 days without sugar, eventually by the end of the 12th day, every day, you will be used to having it without sugar. And I don't reckon it took 12 days, but I did get there. And now I don't drink sugar. I don't have sugar in my coffee ever. And I like it. And to the point that if I put sugar in there, I don't think it'd be too sweet.
Yeah, right.
So,
yeah, that doesn't sound anything like affirmations.
Well, it's the similar process, though.
No, that's acclimatization. That's a whole different lever, I reckon.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's not a story about
I suppose.
Like if you're running told a story that you can't drink coffee. I should have
told myself I don't like coffee. I don't like sugar.
Yeah.
But that's...
No, more that's physical reality again, I reckon.
Well, it's safe to say I've learned nothing this episode, I think. We started in the kooky land where I suspected you might have had too many mushrooms on your camping trip, and we've ended with me learning nothing. So hopefully you got something out of it. If you're listening out there, you can, of course, send us an email, cve@equitymates.com, or on the website, equitymates.com/CVE. And if you've made it this far, we do thank you very much for listening. We'd love it if you went and left us a review on iTunes and tell us what you think of the show. We'll be back, maybe back on track next week too. We'll see how we go. But do tell us if you enjoyed this type of content. It's a bit of a departure from what we're normally bringing each week. If you found it interesting, if you got something out of it, if you want to know more, then Thomas has got it. He does have a wealth of information about this kind of thing. So be sure to let us know. Otherwise, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week. See you later.
Comedian V Economist is a product of Equity Mates Media. All information in this podcast is for education and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional finance, legal, or tax advice. The hosts of Comedian V Economist are not financial professionals and are not aware of your personal financial circumstances. Before making any financial decisions, you should read the product disclosure statement and, if necessary, consult a licensed financial professional. Do not take financial advice from a podcast. For more information, head to the disclaimer page on the Equity Mates website, where you can find ASIC resources and find a registered financial professional near you. In the spirit of reconciliation, Equity Mates Media and the hosts of Comedian V Economist acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people today.